Tonight on The Local Live, a local cleaners catches on fire. Stakeout for charity as Sedona raises money for LMC TV. We have some of the best stories in town to do holiday shopping. And on this year's final roundtable, 2 Mamaroneck Village trustees will be answering questions live. Good evening, it's Thursday, December 20th. I'm Alexandra Garcia and welcome to The Local Live. Just after 3 p.m. yesterday, a 2-alarm fire broke out at the Excelsior Cleaners in the Ferndale Shopping Center on West Boston Post Road. There are no reports of injuries and the fire was put out within the hour. Businesses that share the building, including the Stop and Shop, remain closed as of this afternoon. Around 40 firefighters from local departments fought the blaze, including units from as far as Port Chester and Scarsdale. At the council meeting on Monday, Mamaroneck Town Administrator Steve Altieri briefly explained changes to the proposed 2019 budget, which later passed unanimously. The final budget was cut to $40,260,000, an increase of 2.6% from 2018's town budget.
All in all, the 2019 budget does exceed the tax cap, however, only by 1.3%, which I think is very reasonable in this environment. It continues to be a very responsible budget, and the recommendation that is being made to the town board is that they approve the budget for 2019.
I forgot to add in my supervisor's report that Moody's Investor Services have confirmed and renewed our AAA rating, which is the highest financial rating that is given out for the town's financial condition, and also increased the rating for the town's fire department to a AA1 rating.
Caroline Lee of the Larchmont Recreation Committee approached the Village Board of Trustees on Monday with a proposal to expand bike lanes on Chatsworth Avenue and to create a safer route through Flint Park. The board approved the park route but tabled the Chatsworth expansion pending further discussion.
On Chatsworth Avenue, we have enough room to have some designated lanes. And then where we need to have 2 lanes of traffic for turning, they become sharrows, which is what we use along Larchmont Avenue in similar circumstances. And then when we look at Cherry, what this does is provide a safe route to travel to the Hommick School off of Larchmont Avenue. So they would come down Cherry Avenue. We're discouraging them from going on Monroe and to Locust, which is busy with traffic and narrow at the times of day that the kids are traveling, and encourages them to use the right direction around the circular area where we have Flint and Lyons and Shore Drive, and then continue along Flint Avenue, make safe turns along Flint Place and Shore Drive and into Flint Park.
Yeah.
As our schools count down to the holidays, here's a roundup of news from the district. Collaborating with the STEM Alliance, Hommick's math teacher Judith Kennelly spent 10 weeks helping students prepare for the American Mathematics Contest, a nationwide competition held in November. The middle school has 6 students score well on high school math material on problem solving. Congratulations to Ms. Kennelly and all of the participants. The Patch recently reported that Central School students helped their needy peers with the Sharing Shelf of Family Services of Westchester. The organization held a drive for new socks and undergarments, and Central Schoolers surpassed the goal, collecting more than 3,000 items. What a great way to celebrate the season of giving. Last but not least, on Tuesday evening, the Mamaroneck School Board meeting heard from its student liaisons.
So some things that have happened just very recently have been some college acceptances. Seniors from Mamaroneck have gotten into Dartmouth, Harvard, UPenn, Brown, Notre Dame, Columbia, Yale, Cornell, Duke, and many, many other schools. So congratulations to all of those. Some of us are still waiting, but you know, it's fine, we'll get there. Just got a couple more months to wait, it's all good. In other news, the National Honor Society is putting together a toy drive with some local organizations to try and help bring some presents to kids. On a similar note, Student Council has adopted a child from New York City as part of our Jinglings program. So every year we do this, we cut up strips of paper, link them together, sell them to people for $1, and then that helps to pay for this kid's gifts this year. And then once we put all the links together, whoever has the longest chain wins. It's by grade, you get bragging rights. That's what we're all about here.
Congratulations to all the seniors who have heard good news from their schools of choice. The rest of you waiting, hang in there. Music awards were given out, and the school board was also treated to a performance by the Central School's 4th and 5th grade students. Good news for the Mamaroneck Library as the 2019-2020 $2,820,000 budget passed by 150 votes yes to 23 no votes. This budget will have a 1% increase from the previous year. Also, you can join the library on Saturday, January 12th at 8 p.m. for the Books Come to Life event. It will be a tour of the library with live action performances of literature and stories. Space is limited, and you can reserve a spot at www.eventbrite.com. For tonight's roundtable, Mike Witch sits down with Mamaroneck Village trustee Keith Waite and Victor Tafour.
Hello, welcome to the round table. I'm Michael Witch, and tonight I'm pleased to welcome 2 trustees from the Village of Mamaroneck. You might be a little confused because earlier in the program you saw a picture with 3 trustees. Dan Natchez was unable to be with us today. He has a concern about the open meetings law and the fact that 3 trustees perhaps constitutes a quorum. And even though we don't discuss official business, he was more comfortable coming back again when we've had time to officially notify more people. So welcome. Keith and Victor, you're both now elected to your 2nd terms.
Correct.
So it must have been exciting enough to want more. But before we get into that, Keith, tell us what you bring to the board. What's your background?
Sure, thanks Mike, and happy holidays by the way.
Thank you.
I have spent most of my career in the financial services area. I worked for Citigroup for over 20 years, and then I left Citigroup in 2007 to set up my own business, which is a training business for the financial services industry. So I have a corporate background, I have my own CEO background as well, and really what I like to think I can contribute to the village is a sense of corporate oversight into how we can run the village like a business, really. So I'm looking for efficiencies. I'm looking for the budget and improvements that way.
And we can tell by your accent that you're from the deep south.
Brooklyn, yeah. No, I actually come from the UK. I was born in Edinburgh in Scotland. I was raised in Nigeria in Africa and then educated both in England as well as Scotland and here at Wharton Business School in Philadelphia.
So you really bring a worldview. You've had experiences that the person who perhaps is born and raised in Mamaroneck has not had.
That's true, and I think Mamaroneck's becoming a very diverse village as well. So the worldview is actually starting to be seen by the residents moving in here too. So I think there is a compatibility there.
And Victor, you share being born in another country and then moving to the United States?
Yes, not as complex a story, but indeed I was born and raised in Colombia, South America. I came to the U.S. 20 years ago. Next year it'll be 20 years. I came to study as well. I did my master's and doctorate at Pace in environmental law. I'm a lawyer. I went to law school in Bogota, Colombia. Initially, was doing more commercial law. I worked for corporations, for law firms. I also worked for government in Colombia. Then I realized environmental law kind of combined the public interest and the legal profession. So that's what I started pursuing. And then when I came to the U.S., that's what I did, environmental law, and I teach and practice part-time.
And you teach at Pace, and you also teach at Bard College.
I go to Bard College, yes, once a week. I have to make my commute up the Hudson, but I love it. And I teach to non-legal students. It's more policy and science, so I also enjoy that.
I think teachers have a certain way of communicating that other people don't practice. You know, I was a teacher, I still am a teacher. So you've got to be able to digest the material and then present it in a way that other people can understand it. You're here tonight, it's raining outside right now, and I think the forecast is for some severe rain. I know that earlier this evening I got a telephone robocall,
Right.
or as you say, reverse 911.
Correct.
From the mayor.
Yep.
About flooding. Do you want to add anything more to that warning?
I would
He was
just make
he was
sure.
just saying be careful.
Yeah, no, I just make sure that people who are watching understand that overnight there's going to be a lot of rain through into the middle of the day tomorrow. Some of it very heavy, high winds up to 50 miles an hour. So really take this seriously. It is going to be a very serious storm, and do the usual thing that we expect of people, and that is just take precautions and try and stay inside if you can.
Okay. Is there a danger of flooding in the usual areas in the Mamaroneck Village?
There's a danger of both flooding from the sea and the high tide tomorrow. I think it's in the morning, so there could be flooding by about 10 o'clock tomorrow from the sea, from the Sound, and also there could be potential flooding in the normal areas over in Washingtonville.
Okay.
We are taking precautions with lowering the water. The Larchmont have lowered the water. You're going to say that, and the dam that we have at Mamaroneck, we've actually also made sure that it's clear too.
That's what I was going to say, and it probably also goes to your other question about why we do this. But I'll save that one for you. Is we learn. So we've learned, for example, for being more proactive. There's a series of things that you can do at the village level that you can. You have to first of all do what you can do for yourself.
Sure.
Your staff. We need to collaborate with the other towns. So we've learned in the last few years, and now being on the board, you want to make sure you don't make those mistakes again. So that's.
And I'd like to remind our viewers that this is not only time for my questions and inquiries, but you may call as well and talk directly to Keith or Victor, or just leave us an email question, or you can tweet it in, and they'll do their best to answer the questions. So feel free to call. We've got about another 15 minutes or so in our conversation. We've got lots of things to talk about. Victor, you said you learn. And I was joking about coming back a second time. Is this experience, second time around, is got to be? Is it more intense? Is it easier? Is it harder?
It's definitely harder,
Yeah?
because you learn a lot of things in the first term, and of course you keep learning and learning, but you also know that the difficulties or the time frames are more complex. So you just want, in order to deliver in those commitments, you have to, push, and that becomes a hurdle. It's more difficult.
Yeah.
I've also worked. Since I moved to the U.S., I was more working for non-for-profits or the academia. So working on the inside is actually of the government. It's actually more difficult, and you get to in a way reverse things, and it's more challenging. But I think it's actually the most rewarding of all of them.
Now, both of you sit on a board which is all Democrats, or it's all one party, regardless of. Is that healthy?
Well, I think, we have 5 Democrats, the mayor and 4 trustees, and we all are registered Democrats. Excuse me. I think, in a way, what is misleading is that we are actually shades of blue, in a way. I mean, not everyone is following the same. So we do have, discussions about issues that some of us see in different ways. So that, I think, is a healthy thing. There's always an opportunity to debate.
And an uncontested election. It's not the first one. Well, I guess is first one in Mamaroneck Village, I think you said, Victor, you corrected me earlier, but then I cited similar uncontested elections in Larchmont, in the town, and what's going on? People are
I think
complacent, not interested, frustrated?
I don't think so, Mike. I think the blue wave that's happened over the last 2 years since 2016 has benefited Westchester and the villages and towns within that. And I think, the Republicans probably felt it was a difficult task for them, given the likes of Indivisible Westchester, who've done an incredible job, and the successes of County Executive George Latimer and so on. I think there has been a lot more interest from the Democrats in elections, a lot more commitment, and I think we have seen the results of that in the midterms and in our elections.
But I think that could be part of it, but there could be also the circumstances. I wouldn't count on it being a permanent thing.
Right.
I think our village is very diverse, both in socioeconomics, where people come from, origin, but also I would think not just politically on the parties, but on the thinking, and I wouldn't count on it. I think it's more the circumstances. What's interesting is that the turnout, the voting was high, almost as the election before. So people were really coming out and voting, and the interest in participating in volunteering in the boards is high as ever.
I'm going to stop you there for a second. We're going to take a short break and get back to some of those issues that you're dealing with in Mamaroneck. We'll be right back after this short message.
Do you know how to request our services? Just go to lmctv.org. Under the service banner, click Forms. In our Forms section, you can apply to be a volunteer, learn about membership, learn about corporate underwriting, request a bulletin board, coverage, DVD dubs, equipment, and PSAs.
It's all a click away at lmctv.org.
Welcome back to the Roundtable. Our guests are Keith Waite and Victor Tafur, both re-elected trustees of the Village of Mamaroneck. And we're down to talking about some specific issues. And I have to ask you about Hampshire. Now, I know there's some lawsuits involved, so you probably can't say a lot. And I know there was a meeting on December 12th where the environmental statement that the developer had prepared was found to be wanting in several areas. Can you say anything more about that?
With Hampshire, we have to be careful as trustees and what we say as there is litigation going on. I can tell you that the planning board meeting the other day was to review the environmental impact statement, and as you said, it was lacking, and there's going to be another meeting now to continue with that.
I think January 9th.
That's right.
Is another meeting,
Yeah.
and the public can come and speak their
And
mind.
that's the important thing, that the public can come and talk about their feelings, and we're getting a lot of correspondence directly to us as from sort of both sides. But the issue that they're looking at now is really the townhouse development that they're proposing as an alternative to the condominium development where the club is now. So that's what's been under review.
I can add two things. One is something very technical, so it wouldn't compromise my role on the board, which is that the environmental assessment actually has kind of two pieces. First is a draft, and in New York, that draft is presented by the developer.
Okay.
But when the time comes to do a final, in that final you do two things. You respond to the questions from the residents and from everybody, committee, so you get that back and forth. Every question has to be answered, or they have to group them. But the most important thing is that the final environmental assessment really is done by the agency, by the board. So they have to really turn it to a neutral language, to a language that is that is a very difficult, kind of passing, and that's what's being clear. So that's technical. As board, we just have to wait for the process to come to us. That's not the decision, not the planning board.
It's the planning board that are doing the final. That's
And then it comes.
And then we'll
then
see if it comes
the
to us in any
trustees.
way.
if
for
it
the
needs
time
to
being,
come to us.
We'll wait.
Okay. The flood control project, the Army Corps project, are they
yeah.
ready to send in the shovels?
They are not ready to send in the shovels quite yet, but everything's been approved all the way up to the White House, as it were. So we're ready to rock on that, which is excellent. We as you know, it's funded by different various, from the Fed all the way down to us. So we actually will have to get funding for our portion of that, which is about $6 million, I think it is. And then there will be the start next year, 2019, and early next year will be the start of the design phase, exactly what is proposed and how it's going to be put into design, and then we'll start shoveling.
That will have, did you want to add something?
I think we recently passed this resolution fulfilling our commitment.
Yes.
That is really will lower the impact, but that's what the federal government would, in a way, do for us. It has a state component, but it will only be part of it. I think we need to be more proactive of what the village can do on future planning. I recently attended a meeting by Westchester County, and that's where the three levels of government really have to collaborate, telling us what to expect in a rain events. And the hydrologists, the scientists are telling us with a lot of precision what to expect here. So a rainfall of 5 or 3 could be now 4 or 5. So we really have to react and do a lot of things. So it's just part of it.
I think, if I may, it's a really good point. This Army Corps project is not going to be the end to flooding in the village. It's not going to be the sort of panacea to all the problems that we've been having, for two reasons. One is that it's probably going to have an 85% success rate. Hopefully that's what they're envisioning. But there's still what's happening in the environment now just keeps sort of, we keep having to catch up with that. And also it doesn't actually have any impact on the other side, which is the sound flooding from the other side, which is another whole issue that we have to deal with in terms of raising seawalls and so on and so forth. So, we have the benefit of living in a wonderful, wonderful village in a lovely area, but what comes with that is flooding from 3 sides, just about 2 rivers and the sound. So we have to deal with all of those.
Well, that reminds me, you've got a project that I know you're keen to see start, talking about developing a lovely area. There is an area in Mamaroneck that residents refer to as the industrial area. And you are going around calling it a maker zone. Can you explain that?
Yes, we've decided to sort of give it a little bit more of an upbeat name. So we're starting to call it the Maker Zone, which has a title. Each letter is defined something. But the Maker Zone is meant to reflect that this is meant to be a arts and crafts studio environment where we're trying to encourage younger people and to come in and actually live and work there. And we're
So it's a
encouraging
combination of residential as well as
it won't be a
retail?
No, the residential will be, if it does pass, will be purely like live and work studios for artists. But we're looking at also anything like microbreweries, microdistilleries, crafts, places, even sports facilities. But we're trying to make that area into a really go-to place. A little bit like kind of Brooklyn, but like a very hipster type place where people from the train station can go down. Not as a competition to Mamaroneck Avenue, where it has its own look and feel, but this is meant to be a little bit more gritty, a little bit more sort of younger in terms of outlook, hopefully. I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to, because I'm British and I can say it. But no, it's meant to be younger and grittier, and hopefully it will encourage school leavers to go there, and we're going to have work incubators and work sort of workstations. People can actually go there rather than go into the city and work. There's going to be those sort of office spaces. So it's still conceptual to a point, but we're now trying to get the overlay of what can be approved and invested in there, put in there.
Of course, you've got a lot of people.
Right. No,
Go ahead, Victor.
I look at it with in addition to all those nice things,
Yeah.
just like an economic driver, because you have to make decisions. You can grow by doing a lot of more residential. In our very unique village, there was a decision made, for example, to keep the waterfront for marine industries, for clubs, and keep it open also, the park. Now we have to make a decision about that, and if we can make the right mix that will attract the right economic development, that would be another driver to our avenue, and then we can have kind of all the things packed in our village where kind of they belong. So that's
take the pressure off residential taxation.
Well, residential, we're going to talk about in a second, housing and development, as we see all this new housing coming into the village of Mamaroneck. And we'll be right back with those questions and issues. And remember, you can call and ask your own question. We'll be right back after this.
Did you know that if you missed the last government meeting, you can watch it on our website? Just go to lmctv.org, click on videos, then click on municipal meetings, scroll down to find the meeting you want, or use the search function in the upper right corner and type in the name or date of the meeting. Then watch. You can see the full agenda and jump to a specific agenda item.
It's all a click away at lmctv.org.
And we're back with the round table. Our guests, Keith Waite and Victor Tafur, the Mamaroneck Village trustees, talk about housing. Now, right now there's a moratorium on housing, but anybody who lives in the village or works or passes through can't not notice a lot of new developments, and they seem to be multi-unit, kind of high-end. Is that deliberate?
I mean, a lot of that approval of that predates us to some extent, and actually has forced us to say, hang on a moment, let's just take a breather for the moment and look at what this all means. And that's why we put in the moratorium about 6 months ago now, was it? 6 or 8 months ago. And it's actually only on apartments over 3 in a building and infill. So it's not housing in that respect, it's just multi-dwelling.
And subdivisions.
And subdivisions, you're right, thank you, Victor. So the idea is to take stock of that and then actually look at, and we've had a consultant who actually gave us a very good presentation the other day, look at what it means if every possible parcel of the village that is available to have developed into apartment blocks, or it is, if that happened, what would be the impact on the village and the impact on the school system as well. So with the village, it's the infrastructure, it's traffic, it's parking, it's the other side of that, it's obviously taxes and things like that. And then on the school, it's clearly the number of students that increase. So we're actually having very, very detailed analysis of the type of building that could go onto a lot, what impact that building would have on village and school. And then we're looking at it from every single parcel. And we worked out there's about 200 parcels that could possibly have, multi-dwelling developments on it, and how that would impact the village. And from that, which we hope to get a solution or at least a final thing in the next few weeks, if not months, we will then decide on how that impacts the zoning that we're going to do in the future as part of the comprehensive plan that's currently in the hopper.
You mentioned taxes, and as a result of the White House's decision to change the tax laws, people around here are losing their state and local tax deduction. Is that going to affect home prices in our area?
I think it already has started to have an impact on appetite at the moment in terms of people wanting to, to buy. I think it's a real shame that is happening, because obviously there's a circular effect in terms of prices and how much we have available to keep the quality of life we have in the village at the moment. I think it will have next year will not be a happy year, I don't think.
And yet there seems to be a lot of interest in our community, people that can't afford New York City and have easy access to the train. This is more affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a question before you answer.
Okay.
One more on the Maker Zone. How much will it cost to live there? Mamaroneck is expensive. Also, will the development be environmentally sustainable? Thank you, viewer.
Thank you. That's great. In terms of living there, we are only going to have a small number of these work-live studios with working underneath, only a handful, so there won't be too many of those in the Maker Zone. It will primarily be business focused. But I think the question, if I may, and you probably better to answer it, is we do have a situation where it is becoming unaffordable for young people and people of low income to live in Mamaroneck, and we want to encourage that somehow. So the question is, how do we go about doing that? Now, the moratorium questions that we're receiving in terms of the type of housing that we could put in, whether it's an apartment or a townhouse or whatever it is, does impact the type of people that can afford that and the demographic of the people that can afford that. And we're very conscious of this in terms of encouraging people that are not as fortunate in terms of their income or who are younger and want to get onto the housing ladder.
I think it's worth clarifying that probably the industrial area of the Maker Zone is not going to be full of nice lofts or places that are going to be for living. At least that's not where we're heading. It's more to really attract businesses and try to keep the residential elsewhere. Actually, that brings me back to the moratorium, because the moratorium really allows you to think bigger instead of parcel by parcel, as you were mentioning, that you just get afraid of where you're heading. This allows you to see what could be built. How many more kids are going to go in the Mamaroneck High School or in the Right Neck portion? How many more units? So we're actually making the totals. We had a meeting the other day, and that was my reaction or my question for the consultants. Okay, all this is great, but give me the totals. What's going to happen if, let's say, 20% gets built? Then we can have a better conversation. But also, that allows us to think about affordability, because on the one hand, you're getting high luxury, and on the other hand, nothing is being built or you don't know. So this could allow us to fine-tune those incentives, because it's getting more expensive. Actually, people are leaving. People are going elsewhere, further up, especially the low-income communities. And there was some striking facts that in the low-income communities, they're spending more than half of their rent in just for housing.
Wow.
And that's troubling. That'll make the move.
But is all that part of I know you're working on a comprehensive plan, or the village is working on a comprehensive plan. That was your main interest, wasn't it?
2 years ago, I asked for it to be updated, just to keep it current, precisely. And the two things that were discussed there was, one of them was sustainability. People want to think they're doing to know they're doing the right thing in their village. From electric cars that the village is buying for electric stations, sustainability, recycling, that we are in tune with what the world is demanding. But the other big piece is neighborhood character. So to have our different areas of the village, be part of that, because also to defend the values of your houses, you want to have a real nice place where you live, the services, the good schools, but that is different from those larger housing in our
Is the
neighborhoods.
update in process?
Yeah, it should be done in the next 6 months, let's put it that way. So hopefully, the moratorium has shifted a little bit.
And as it says, it's a comprehensive plan, so it includes the impact of the maker zone. It includes, some of the sustainability stuff that we want to put in there in terms of, where do we see the village in X 5 years' time, and how do we make sure that it doesn't get overtaken by, non-environmentally friendly stuff. So.
Our time has quickly gone by. Is there anything that I haven't mentioned that you'd like to plug? An event?
No.
Piece of good news?
I think another initiative it's been the safety of kids and walking and making that's we're working on that one big time.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We should actually devote a whole program to that. There's a question from a viewer sneaks in here. I'm going to read it from the prompter. What other steps toward protecting the environment is the village going to take soon? Have you got any initiatives on protecting the environment?
In terms of soon, I know that even this week we were looking at how we can educate people with backyards on better use of their yards from an environmental point of view. In terms of even things like, you don't need to blow your leaves into the street. You could actually mulch them. You can, do things like that. The type of flowers to grow that won't need as much water. Those are the sort of things. I'd love to see a lot more electric basings. I've even proposed that we shouldn't have, electric leaf blowers, and we should have electric leaf blowers and mowers and things, and just start that now, which may seem a bit extreme, but in 5 years' time, people will be saying, why didn't we do that earlier? So.
I agree with that. The two big things are mobility, cars and transportation. We can work on that front. We're doing a great thing for ourselves and for the planet and for the state, and so that's good. And the other is everything comes back to water, and in our surveys, water, healthy yards, managing stormwater gets to flooding. So a big plan for water management, because we're a coastal village where we have two rivers, and having a real serious plan that we can incorporate into the permitting, that is something that's useful, not just another study. I think that's one of our goals, and one of mine in particular.
No, that's good.
Will you come back to talk about the safety issue?
If you'd have us.
We'd love to have you. And
We'd love
thank you
to.
so much for
Not at
spending these few minutes with us. Dan, we missed you. We want you back on the next program, and thank you for watching, and stay tuned because there's more Local Live coming up right now.
Thank you.
LMC Cast. The whole system is fine. All right, cool. I definitely would recommend doing podcasts if you are someone that likes to get something off the chest, or you want to just talk about anything in the world that just might interest you. Podcast here at LMC TV is amazing.
I hope you're listening out there.
If you're planning on ringing in 2019 in White Plains, Heineken USA has got you covered on making sure you don't drink and drive with its 15th annual New Year's Safe Ride program.
Heineken USA, headquartered in White Plains, New York, recently launched its 15th annual New Year's Safe Ride program.
So it's been 15 years now.
We've been doing it for 15 years, so we're pretty well established element of the evening for people who celebrate in White Plains, but we think it's really important to have this opportunity available that people can come out. What we don't want is people to then get in their cars and drive home when they've had too much to drink. So by providing a fleet of cars for people to take free and safe rides home after they've had their celebrations on New Year's Eve, it's just a way to keep the Westchester community safe and sound, ready as they go into the New Year.
Local resident Carol Sears, who's the president of Mothers Against Drunk Driving for Westchester County, told attendees her tragic story with drunk driving.
We were in southern Georgia, driving along, and a man who was coming south on 95, who was absolutely drunk and had an arrest record a mile long for DWIs and hit and runs and drug arrests, was driving south. He was stopped by a Georgia State Trooper about 15 minutes before he hit us, and the trooper said to him, "If you keep driving like this, you're going to kill someone." He was going 92 miles an hour, and he jumped around and he said, I gotta go, just give me a ticket, I gotta go. And the police officer gave him a ticket and let him go. And then 15 minutes later, as he came down, he hit a Ryder truck in front of him. We were driving north. He came just very, very quickly across the divide where it was just flat grass. It wasn't there was no barrier. And Andy and I, who were listening to a Willie Nelson tape and just driving along, saw one light come at us. And that was it. That was the end.
Over the 15 years that have helped 5,000 residents or more get home. So, you know, the impact is clear from that we can have through doing this program. The cars are available on the corner of East Post and Mamaroneck Avenue, so super easy to find and
major hub, especially for the bars and restaurants here. So yeah, that's perfect.
If you still have a few gifts left on your list, please keep in mind to shop local this holiday season.
Hi, welcome to Know Your Neighbors, and today our annual holiday edition. We're so happy to be here with you guys on Mamaroneck Avenue at a brand new restaurant called Mr. Chin's. Thank you for talking to me today, and welcome to Mamaroneck. You know they call us the Friendly Village, right?
That's correct, yeah, and I see that. Yeah.
And you specialize in dumplings.
Yeah, we specialize in steamed pork soup dumplings, which our dumpling lady behind us is making right now. So yeah, we'd love for you to try it.
When can we eat here?
could eat here 364 days out of the year. We're only closed for Thanksgiving Day.
Wow. Now we're at Main Hosiery. If you don't know it, you haven't been a Mamaroneck Village resident for very long. Mary Reed, how long you been here?
I've been here for 50 years at here in Mamaroneck, and we're a women's shop, and we carry many, many things that you would be interested in.
You better believe it. I've bought hose, I've bought underwear, I've bought pajamas, and you have great gift ideas.
Yes, we have a lot of gifts at 30% off. And we carry PJ Salvage, which is top of line that everybody loves. And even I wear that.
Okay, now we're at Robbers with Manny. And I got to tell you, it's like being at home.
You are at home. This is everybody's home.
So, in your personal opinion, if we're looking for the gift this year, what would it be?
Right now, it depends on what you're into, but if you're into the outdoors, we're got you covered with Spider and Carhartt and all that. And if you're looking, and the Columbia fleeces and spiders and marmots and all that, you know, those are really good.
And the hat that we got for Jerry?
Absolutely.
Now we've moved to Larchmont, and we pulled up to Village Mercantile. Such wonderful items, everything from things that smell good to serving pieces to fabulous blankets. Okay, we're back in our old stomping grounds of the Voracious Reader, standing with Francine, the owner, and I love coming into this place. It's so warm and fuzzy, and it's such a great place to get gifts. Tell me what's hot this year.
Okay, well, it's actually kind of tricky because books seem to go missing from the warehouses. I mean, there's such a demand on things, and they have to keep reprinting, and we're always worried that we're going to run out. So if you haven't bought your books for people this year yet, come on down as soon as you can while we still have them.
We're in Chocolations, a place I come to maybe once a week, and we're standing with Maria, owner, and tell us about the holidays.
The holidays are wonderful. They're exhausting, but they are wonderful. It is, it's become a really, really crazy season right now, and I'm very happy about it. I could use a little sleep, as you can probably see from the bags under my eyes, but that's okay. We are making a lot of people happy this year.
Now I'm standing in Moonlight, and I'm standing with Crystal Massey, the new co-owner of Moonlight on Mamaroneck Avenue. And are you continuing in the music thing?
Yes, absolutely. We have live music every Friday and Saturday. We have events. We are very involved with the community.
A holiday visit with Maria Di Leonardo in Siren. Tell us about Christmas gifts and holiday things that are going on.
Lots of jewelry, alpaca socks with llamas on them. I just wanted to have a lot of fun. I wanted this Christmas to be magical.
You also have good smelling candles.
Yes, yes.
I mean, there's somebody coming in here. You have scarves.
We try to appeal to everyone, and we do have some gifts that people can give to men, which are some of the candles and a few like just little things like Zodiac keychains.
So
and
if you
things like
wanted
that.
a low end present, you could definitely do as well.
For sure.
Well, it's time to say goodbye, and thank you for watching LMC TV. We really want to urge you to shop local. There are so many wonderful places, and we were only able to show you just a tiny bit of them. But please remember that this is what keeps our community so wonderful and vibrant. And again, I say to you, happy holidays, one and all. Bye-bye. See you next year.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
LMC received a check from Sedona Tap House as we were the benefactors for the month of November from their Stakeout for Charity event.
Hey guys, Matt Sullivan here, Executive Director of LMC TV, joined by Ron Duckstein of Sedona Tap House. We are so happy to be presented with this check. This is from the Stakeout for Charity event. We were the benefactors for the month of November. So every Monday we had community members and people outside the community come in, and for a very small price, which we can't name on the air, they were able to come in, enjoy a great steak dinner, and a portion of that went to LMC TV. So we just want to thank Sedona for all they've done for us throughout the years. It's been a wonderful partnership, and we're looking forward to many more Stakeout for Charity events with you guys. Ron, did you want to say anything?
We're happy to partner with LMC TV. You guys have been a terrific charity for us, driving in traffic, and you do wonderful things for the community, and it's great to, again, work with you guys.
Thank you so much. So everybody, happy holidays, happy New Year. If you can, join Sedona. The Fuller Center for New York is going to be the featured charity for the month of December. And do we have anyone lined up for January yet, Ron?
We do, but off the top of my head, every Monday, all I know is we have Stakeout for Charity. I can't remember who the Monday charity is,
All right.
the January charity.
Well, stay tuned. We'll let you guys know. More to come from LMC TV and the Local Live. Thanks a lot.
Voting for the Best of Westchester 2019 is open. Please consider LMC TV, the Local Live, and our very own anchor, Maura Carlin. Visit www.westchestermagazine.com and click on the Best of Westchester tab to cast your reader ballot in the People and Media categories. Voting ends January 23rd. Let's shake things up and help make the rest of Westchester aware of your community media center and local news show.
Worked with LMC TV since 2012, and it's really changed my life.
I had absolutely no idea how to make a video, and then I had this light bulb go off, and I thought, LMC TV, that's the place I need to be.
You know, LMC TV has been amazing. We have been able to dive into our creative ventures, really dive in.
We shot our first half of our film back in May, and it was the most amazing weekend, like one of those moments in my life that I will never forget.
I actually count so much on LMC TV because they do free PSAs, they cover a lot of our news stories.
Without a local newspaper to keep us abreast of what's going on, LMC TV is really our main outlet to know what's happening all throughout our community.
So it's just a small example of how much we can do together and what you could do when you use your resources in your community. And I just encourage everybody to seek LMC TV out, work with their staff, work with their interns, because they're incredible and they always show up.
It's kind of crazy because I would go in there and think, how is it that the whole world is not using this incredible resource?
If you miss a school board meeting, a town or village board meeting, if you miss an event that your child was in, such as a band concert, a school play, or a sports event, you can go to lmctv.org, click on the event, and you can watch it at your own convenience.
I'd like to thank you so much, LMC TV, for the opportunities you've given me and for making my life much more sweet to live. So thank you so much.
Thank you for everyone who has funded, generously donated. We are gracious recipients of those donations. Thank you so much, LMC TV. We love you.
What a valuable resource. Please donate today.
We love hearing from our viewers. Please send all emails, comments, inquiries, news tips, pictures, and videos to locallive@lmctv.org. Remember, if you missed Thursday's live broadcast, you can catch replays of the Local Live twice a day on this channel and find story clips on our YouTube channel. Be sure to also follow us on Facebook, where we stream live every Thursday night, and keep an eye out for some unique content. We would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Thank you for watching the Local Live. I'm Alexandra Garcia, and we'll see you next week for our Year in Review show. Have a good night.